Well, we've been talking about cross-asset volatility here, stocks going down, bond yields going down. Bitcoin, though, is going up. In the latest edition of Influencers, which is brought to you by Verizon, Yahoo Finance's editor-in-chief, Andy Serwer, sat down with Finder.com co-founder Fred Schebesta. He said crypto is just in its early stages.
Bitcoin's been called dead, for 10 years now? Seems to still be going. I think the price is holding up pretty well throughout this as well. I think crypto is in the beginning. And it took, if you remember the internet, we went through the pets.com phase of the internet in crypto. And I actually think it needs another 5 years to cook.
I want to bring in Cory Johnson, Epistrophy Capital Managing Member. Cory, it's good to see you.
Always a pleasure.
We have been seeing some interesting action in cryptocurrencies amidst this stock market sell-off, right? That they have not been a consistent sort of safe haven, for lack of a better term, a place for investors to go. They haven't always been rising when stocks have been going down. What do you make of the recent action that we've seen?
I think to some degree it shows a maturity of the asset class, which is painful for those who've been longtime holders of Ether or XRP or Bitcoin or what, pick your crypto asset. But I think that, look, in times of stress in the markets, the real serious stress like we're seeing right now, a source of cash is a source of cash. And I think that you've seen that where people have just been selling things to get a hold of cash, whether it's because they're long on margin or they just want to put that money to use or they're just scared. But I think that, as crypto matures as an asset, I think you're going to see it behave like other assets. And when the time is to get out of assets, crypto is yet another asset. I think you're going to see people leave. I also think, though, that there's a sort of big fundamental issue here, which is that even today, 10 years after the creation of Bitcoin, crypto is still a concept more than it's a practiced technology being to use. And I think that there's a real significant difference between the notion of blockchain as something that people trade with hopes that it'll have a greater value someday, and functional blockchain, which barely exists in the world. There are very few companies that are doing a lot with the technology of blockchain and really putting value into these things that have already achieved great value through speculation.
Yeah, Cory, Dan Roberts here. Good to have you back on our airwaves. Hey, separately from the debate right now about, safe haven or not, and is it uncorrelated or correlated to stocks, it seems to me it's just uncorrelated and behaves on its own. But separate from that discussion, you do have so many people in the crypto world, and I'm glad you just alluded to it, who still say, well, its best use case is as a store of value. It's an investment. They've moved away from trying to talk about what will the killer app be, and now they just say the killer app is the investment itself. It's a store of value. Now, we can argue about whether it's been a store of value, but I'm glad you bring up functional blockchains because one kind of excitement around, say, Libra is maybe that will be what brings crypto in general into the next phase, into its use for commerce. So what do you make of the potential for Libra? And of course, also another example is Ripple, the company where you used to work, that is putting XRP to work for international bank transfers. So what might be the functions coming up separately from just a store of value?
So, and I'm completely biased because, yes, I did have some happy times at Ripple, and I still own equity in the company. So I think it's a great thing that they're actually finding some use of this blockchain technology and of XRP in particular. But I do think that, it's a very peculiar technology in that in the creation of the technology, Satoshi figured out a way to attach value to it. If you could have attached value to TCP/IP when it was first created, and you could have bought the packets with hope that someday they would invent, I don't know, Instagram. It was quite a long ways between the invention of TCP/IP and the creation of all the things that the internet could do and the packetized networks could do. I think you see the same thing with the technology of blockchain. So yes, so the movement of money is an obvious thing. Libra wants to do that. Ripple's doing that today with XRP, helping move money very quickly, very cheaply for existing financial institutions, whether it's companies in the remittance business or banks and what have you. But I think you're going to see a lot of other things, and I think fairly soon, because companies have been working on this for so many years, but they're just not there yet. You're going to start to see the emergence of the use of the technology, and I think that's when the real value will ascribe to cryptocurrency.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.